Welcome to the Sisterhood of Limitless Living. I'm Dr. April Moreno, autoimmune wellness researcher and professional helping women around the world to live their best possible lives despite the autoimmune condition. Listen in as we speak on various topics about the autoimmune journey and interview amazing and inspiring women who are living and thriving despite their autoimmune condition. Let's get started. Hello, Sisterhood. Hope all is going fantastic. I'm still here in the Pacific Northwest, having a great time. And today I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about, maybe not more. I'd like to talk to you about mindful wellness. And I would like to talk to you about recent experience I've had and contemplation about things. And so a few days ago, I went to a Transcendental Meditation course. That was really interesting, and I'm excited to share more about that with you in the coming days. But so far, I just went to like the intro, and it was really informative, and I really enjoyed it, especially because it also had a lot of like a research aspect to things, and apparently like the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, has funded like countless studies on the benefits of mindfulness and on meditation. So that's been pretty exciting to hear about and to hear about those different studies. And so I wanted to get on here and talk to you a little bit today about the difference between like mindfulness and meditation. I believe that mindfulness is a part of meditation. It is definitely a part of awareness. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the differences between the two and what we do here at Dr. April Moreno Wellness, and what the Sisterhood of Limitless Living tends to focus on, a lot of the work that we've been working on here. And we'll talk a little bit more about the differences between the two. So, I've thought about it, and over time I was questioning this, and I got the answer. So when we think about mindfulness, it's often like this general definition is just like about noticing what's going on in the body and maybe in the environment. So really it's just like about, without judgment, just noticing and being aware of what's going on, right? But then there's also this other aspect of mindfulness, but I almost want to call it something else. And I'm sure there's a name out there, and I'll find out what it is. But it is the slightly more interactive practice of awareness, right? So we are consciously aware of what's going on, right? We're consciously noticing things. We're choosing in, like the traditional mindfulness aspect of things, we're like just kind of listening. But then there is this additional aspect of where we're actually proactively, we're doing things at the same time. So there's kind of like this fuzzy line between like just noticing, being in the here, in the now, and accepting it. But then there's also this additional step of like where you're actually doing things, where it's like the forgiveness part, or it's like the choosing to make changes part, So there's definitely something there as well. And it's also like your guided imagery, your visualization, and like that slightly more proactive, active step in the process of awareness. So, but then there's also what we were hearing, is like in the transcendental meditation field, it's like this deeper level of awareness, and it's getting more in touch with like the core self, like getting more in touch with like core feelings. More of the like, it sounds like the subconscious, and I'm about to find a little bit more about that difference between like transcendental meditation and that deeper knowing of self, and what makes that different from like hypnosis. And maybe they are sisters or relatives of one another, which it sounds like it could be. So that's part of the next journey here. But what I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about here is what we do here in Dr. April Moreno Wellness, what we do in our conversations here in Mindful Wellness, the Sisterhood of Limitless Living, for the most part at this stage in time, is very focused on the conscious process of mindful wellness, because the autoimmune experience is something that we have to process, we have to come to terms with, and we need to find ways to bring healing, calm, peace, awareness, and build our care team. So that's what a lot of this work is about in my business. And so we tend to focus a lot more on that surface level. Okay, so in this talk, the presenter on Transcendental Meditation kind of talked about like um, waves on an ocean and boats on top of that ocean. And so a lot of that was like the mindfulness, the awareness practice, right? So it's like becoming aware of what, or just noticing a bit more of what's already out there. Um, and then also deciding to respond in some way, you know, and that can be like with your affirmations, it could be with some level of visualization, or definitely making some sort of decision to do something, decision to change. So that is up at the surface level of this ocean, and that's definitely the work that we're doing here. Okay. And then there's also this additional level of this, like the meditation, deeper meditation, I would call it. I think both would be considered meditation. Even if you look in the Bible, the sense of meditation is this kind of like introspection, right? The sense of like the thoughts about what's going on, even like included with sense of prayer, that sense of inner conversation, but very conscious, at a very conscious level. So I definitely consider both aspects being part of meditation. But this transcendental one is where it's like it's deeper to the core, and apparently it requires like this level of like specific training. Sounds to me a lot like hypnotherapy. And so I'll find out a little bit more about that along this journey. I'll share that with you all. But again, just to clarify, the work that we do here is very related to the upper surface level, because there's definitely value in that, because you know, as sometimes we're busy people, or we are like, you know, some people here are like highly functioning, like highly engaged people with their workplace, their workforce. And, you know, they're just like, how can I get better so I can get back to doing the things that I want to do? And, you know, that is definitely a possibility out there. Disability or no disability, permanent or temporary disability. We can find ways to get things done, sometimes creatively, you know, but so that's the importance of looking at things from a more above the ocean surface level of just mindful awareness. I mean, just knowing that I have tension in my head or tension in my jaw when I'm driving, when I feel like, you know, notice the tension in my neck and my shoulders. These are things that I can be consciously aware of if I take the time to think about them, right? And then also being able to examine your life, you know, looking at these 10 dimensions of wellness that I work with, can be like everything: physical, mental, occupational, emotional, environmental, and so on. And assessing for yourself, you know, and it's just like, okay, I never really sat down to think about these things because I've been super busy, or you know, I'm just so stressed out right now, I don't even have a moment to just sit down and like listen to myself, right? That's where we are. That's the level of work that we're doing here at this present moment. And that's where we look at this need for care coordination. How do you get your care team together? And it may or may not be your traditional care team of like physiologists or like physical therapists or nutritionists and, you know, physical health level care team, which is important too, but it could be something broader than that. It's like, okay, how can I get my relationships together? How can I find a support team? How can I find a supportive group of people who understand what I'm going through, who are aspiring and heading into this next level of life improvement, who believe in the power of healing? How can I, you know, find meaningful work? How can I find a meaningful hobby to participate in? All these different aspects of what I consider quality of life and the broader dimensions of wellness with an autoimmune condition. These are the things that we work with here at Dr. April Moreno Wellness. And so wanted to clarify that at this time. And this, life is a journey. And I'm a constant learner. I learn something new every day, purposely. I love learning new things. In fact, I'm at a conference right now, and I'm here to learn all about what's going on in research in the field of all kinds of autoimmune related stuff. And so learning is a part of living every day. The growth mindset is about learning something new and continuing to adapt to the times and the changes in the environment. So these things are really important. So once again, that's why we look at the surface level of awareness and mindfulness practices, things that we can focus on changing, things that we are aware of, that we can become aware of, and then make adjustments accordingly toward the vision that we have for our life and our purpose and our goals for the future. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Again, the difference between like a mindfulness practice and a deeper introspective, maybe transcendental level of awareness and meditation. Thank you for listening to the Sisterhood of Limitless Living podcast. If you like what you heard, come and follow us and subscribe on iTunes or give us a review. Also, you can join us on the Facebook group, the Sisterhood of Limitless Living, or come visit me on my website, aprilmorenophd.com. Take care.